computer. So here we have some measurements. The outside diameter of a manufactured part must be 1.3825 inches. The data represents a random sample of 10 parts. Use a 95% confidence interval to judge whether the part has been manufactured to specifications. So the confidence interval looks like x bar plus or minus t alpha over 2 s over root n. And I coincidentally had entered these values into list 3. And so we can ask the calculator to make a confidence interval, which I will do. T interval, data, we're in list 3, 95%. So it says 1.3824, 1.3828. And then we're going to answer the question, is it possible the long-term mean is 1.3825 based on the interval? I'm at Andrew. What do you think?
Is it possible? Yeah, because it's in between the two.
Yeah, sure. Since 1.3825 is inside the interval. So if we use that strategy to judge whether the manufactured part seems to be about the right size, we would go yes. That on the average, it seems to be that size. Now that seems a little bit weird because certainly the diameter isn't 1.3825 for any of the pieces, but if on average it's that size and that makes it work, then you'd be happy. If you know that manufacturing company is shorting the size or inflating the size of that part, so it's less likely to fit, you'd be upset if the true average value is supposed to be 1.3825. You'd want to try to make it that size so it's most likely going to work. You still might have some manufacturing errors where it doesn't work, but at least on average it's the right size. Okay, so we did that. I think we're down to the end of the day. Here we go. In problems 1 and 2, determine whether the sampling method is dependent or independent. So first one is, a stock analyst wants to know if there's a difference between the mean rate of return from energy stocks and from financial stocks. He randomly selects 13 energy stocks and computes the mean rate of return for the past year. He also randomly selects 13 financial stocks and computes the, mean rate of return for the past year. That's 1. Is that independent or dependent? We're going with Kat.
Would it be independent since he's just doing like year by year?
Do the two different selections have anything to do with each other? They're two different, completely separate random selections. So,
like, yeah.
So that makes them independent, right?
Yeah.
So if you chose a sample of 13 from one group and another sample independently of 13 from another group without reference to the first group, then they're independent. Number 2 says, the prison warden wants to know if men receive longer sentences for crimes than women. He randomly samples 30 men and matches them with 30 women of the type of crime committed and records their lengths of sentence. How about Dylan? Do you think that's independent or dependent?
Say dependent.
Dependent. So the women that are chosen depend on what type of men were chosen. You don't get to pick the women without reference to the men. You're referencing the types of crimes the men had to pick the women. So the women chosen depend on which men were chosen. That makes them dependent. So this one's independent. since the second sample does not depend on the first one, and here one, it's dependent dependent, maybe like that, since the second sample depends on who was chosen for the first sample. Okay. I hope I'm recording right now. Oh, good, I am. I thought I might have forgotten to turn on the recording again. So that'll be the end of that, and I'll stop recording now. I'm going to post this recording on Blackboard